Blessings in abundance. It's Brother Polight, and we're here, amongst many other things, to talk about the political polarization of global uncertainty. In retrospect to the Illuminati, as many of you would like to refer to it, Cash App, FEDNOW, and what does this mean? Now, if you guys have been keeping in tune with my courses, which I tell you, I do get a lot of flack from covert forces for disseminating certain information about the new society to come. I'm not a doomsday giver. I don't make videos to give you doomsday energies or vibes, but the fact of the matter is the world is quickly changing. And I've been forewarning you about these things, especially last year and the year before that, when I did a course called The Silver Tsunami. Those of you that have been in my course called The Silver Tsunami, those things that I discussed have come to pass. So yeah, they're getting rid of cash. That's an absolute fact. It's a process, but they're getting rid of cash. Okay? You think it's a coincidence that on April 4th, the creator of Cash App got stabbed up randomly, like he's in hood affairs. Then they say they found fentanyl and cocaine and alcohol in his system when he got stabbed up. And who did he get stabbed up by? He wasn't mugged by nobody in the street, no hoodlum. He was purportedly stabbed up by an IT entrepreneur. Another nerd. So nerds are stabbing each other up. And it's supposed to be over a dispute over his sister and all this other stuff. But hey, the interesting thing about this is that the exit of Cash App and the intro of this new system called FEDNOW. There's a new application coming out called FEDNOW, and they're going to officially bring it in. They're going to officially bring it in July 4th. Just like that. Now, I kept telling you guys how important it is to get your credit right. Now we're going to have a real thorough discussion. And all of this goes back to the political polarization of global uncertainty. When things are constantly changing in the world, between diseases, the silver tsunami, when you have too many younger people and too many older people, but not enough people in between, the working class, that creates the fall of society, because the real labor and working class is them 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, early 50-year-olds. Okay? Because if most of the old people exist, then they'll be dying around the same time. Who's going to pay the bills for the houses? And those bills for the homes in the form of property tax are used in millages to fund school lunches, pay for teachers, pay for the food. Property taxes pay for the roads and the highways to be smooth, pay for firemen, pay for your police department officials' plate. It pays for the street lights. It pays for the doctors and the nurses' salary. So people are not paying property taxes. There goes the infrastructure of society. That's why it's a direct correlation between dilapidated communities, overpacked classrooms and lacking in resources, communities, and foreclosures. When people are not paying property taxes, there goes the decline of that particular community. So the county government's job is to collect property taxes. So much so that they will pay you a return on your investment if you invest in someone's past due delinquent property taxes in the form of a tax lien. So, if you have mostly younger people, 18 and under, and mostly people 60 plus years and older, and most times, most people start getting their homes around age 30, 35, and they're encouraged to work for at least 35 years or so. If you don't have too much of those people in the middle, that's called a silver tsunami. And that causes the destruction of society because you don't have people working that eventually become older. So They may remedy it any of a number of ways, but to get away from that, let's have a word from our sponsors and let's see what they have to say. I want you guys to check this out real quick. Check this out.
This is not hyperbole. Your freedom to use cash the way you want to is going to change forever. Just like what Europe did a few weeks ago, making it illegal to spend cash over $1,000 or 1,000 euros. You can't use 1,000 euros to pay cash. Maybe you want to get some trees removed in your yard and you want to pay the gardener to do that. You can't pay him in cash anymore. Can you imagine? Think that's fake news? Here's the head of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, explaining it.
No, the problem is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to...
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold. Above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the grey market. So you take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail.
So no biggie. You can't spend your own money without the government tracking you, and you can go to jail for it. In the United States, it's called the FEDNOW program, and it'll replace paper currency, which this week became even more worthless. It'll move the United States to a cashless society, a total surveillance state where every transaction will be tracked. Whereas the Fed describes it, money that's in your account could even expire and become unusable. Just like that Olive Garden gift card that you got that one time that you never used. One day you go to buy some bottomless breadsticks and pasta and the gift card won't work. Expired. Where'd that money go? It's gone. You can read how the Fed actually plans to use expiring money right on the Fed's website. China's already doing it. And the World Economic Forum billionaires have repeatedly said they want to model the banking system and the surveillance state after what China is doing.
So we have to define how the world should look like, which we want to come out of this transformation period. I respect China's achievements, which are tremendous over the last over 40 years. I think it's...
You see that? Let's go a little bit back a little again, and let's see.
This is not hyperbole. Your freedom to use cash the way you want to is going to change forever. Just like what Europe did a few weeks ago, making it illegal to spend cash over $1,000 or 1,000 euros. You can't use 1,000 euros to pay cash. Maybe you want to get some trees removed in your yard and you want to pay the gardener to do that. You can't pay him in cash anymore. Can you imagine? Think that's fake news? Here's the head of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, explaining it.
No, the problem is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to...
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold above...
See what I'm saying? So, I've been talking to you guys at great length about these things. At great length.
1,000 euros, you cannot...
Been talking to you guys at great length about these things. And if you know the history, you know at March 9th, 1933, they had the House Joint Resolution 192, which is when they took the gold and the silver from all the people. The money used to be backed by gold and silver. You used to be able to turn in your paper money because it was called gold certificates or silver certificates. You might have had a $5 silver certificate. You might have had a $50 gold certificate. And that would equal in amount to a ration of gold or silver that you could get back in exchange because your money was actually backed by something. This was the House Joint Resolution 192, March 9th, 1933, where the Federal Reserve said we're going to strip the people of their gold and silver. Literally took the backing away from the paper currency, thereby making paper money colorable. Yes, and this was March 9th, 1933. And we're finding our way there for this next Independence Day. This is the 2023 version. Okay? And what they're essentially doing, yes, they're making things more efficient for banks. Okay? The ACHs, You won't have to worry about how long that takes for your credit card payments to be cleared and mortgage payments. And yeah, there's some rate of efficiency there. But what you got to understand is when they create a faster pace for money, knowing that debt demands patient money or time to accrue in order for you to leverage that time for credibility, they're not going to propose a remedy until the trauma happens. It's well thought out. They're going to, in doing so and creating a system as such, it's going to alienate the people who already have poor credit, and even more so in some circumstances, impact people to a certain detriment that have a very low cognizance of credit in general. All right? This is really going to have a snowball effect on people who don't understand the significance of credit as we're transitioning into a cashless society. And then they're going to be creating the limits on the amount of cash you can spend at a time. So creating a limit on the amount of cash you can spend at a time is also wild, by way of the FEDNOW. So for those of you that's not quite getting it, most of you already don't know that there's over 30 different credit bureaus and financial institutions that have a say on whether or not you can be approved for monies or not. Most of you don't even know that such a thing exists. Most of you still think the world of credit is exclusively predicated upon the criteria of TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, and FICA, which is laughable. Okay? Now you see in this video, so they say your money will expire. Imagine that. Imagine having cash money and realizing your cash money expired. We're going through another point in history reminiscent to that of March 9th, 1933, HJR, House Joint Resolution 192. I say these things so you have references, so you can understand what is meant by the political polarization of global uncertainty. You see, a lot of people say, Polight, why don't you teach the other stuff and get back to the other teachings? Those teachings are important, but I've been working diligently to prepare you guys to make monies through the credit world before it becomes more and more difficult for you to access funds. Because those of you that don't like the bank, and you hold your cash, and then when you want to use the bank, you put your cash in the bank so then you can make a transaction, it's over for you. Those of you that's hiding from creditors, you're going to have no choice but to be the subject of creditors if you can't hide your fucking cash the way you want to hide it. If you can't hide your money the way you want to hide it, then everybody and anybody that says you owe money has immediate access to you without a question. Because they put together the centralizing banking system. Now, FedNow is not a currency, but it's that which demonstrates what's on the cusp of centralized banking and controlling monies worldwide, because the global community has decided it is more advantageous to them, the wealthy, the movers and shakers, the Fortune 500 companies. It's more advantageous to them and very disadvantageous to everybody else. And who cares about everybody else? Everybody else could just go to hell. You're not going to have no way to hide your monies. Move at your own pace. You're going to be the subject of creditors immediately and exclusively. Now, I've been teaching about this. Been teaching about this for the longest. And now the day has come. This is why if you want to sign up for the credit restoration program, been telling you about it. That's why it's really a mentorship program that includes credit. Pardon me. I always tell you guys, sign up for the mentorship program. Learn the nuances so I can talk to you about the silver tsunami and the collapse of pensions by way of the silver tsunami, so I could talk to you about the political polarization of global uncertainty and prepare you for these so-called new advancements in society that's ushering in a cashless society and giving you very little power over the monies you have, and will further submerge you in debt. Further. Like I said, for those of you that like to hide your money, or only put your money in the bank when it's time to conduct a transaction. You're not going to really have no place to hide. You go to brotherpolight45 at gmail.com and you leave your full name and phone number when you're ready to purchase the $2,000 service. Get access to anywhere between 50 grand to 300 grand that you do not have to pay back. Get a caseworker that's going to deal with your credit exclusively and immediately. Get me as your mentor, whereby I be giving you a wide range of ideas how you may want to invest your money to grow it into a larger amount. And also get the website where you can track your results, see the deleted items as we remove them, the positive items as we add them, and then you can add notifications to your phone. Add notifications to your phone so you can see everything that we're doing on your behalf going out and everything that's coming in. You might want to turn your notifications off. That's how annoying it gets, because we're corresponding, not with just TransUnion, Sparing, and Equifax. We're corresponding with over 30 different credit bureaus and financial institutions that are soliciting and transferring data about you in regards to the predictability of the consumer. Meaning, what is the likelihood that they can trust you with how much funds, if any? They're disclosing data that you have in your bank account, what percentage of monies you have left after the total amount that you get on a month-to-month basis, and per annual income to expense ratio. Okay, things that you don't know that are being used against you. Your banks have a credit score about you that they don't tell you about. That's right, your banks have a credit score that they don't tell you about. Okay, so these are all things that you guys got to keep in mind. These are all things you got to keep in mind. Okay, the process costs $2,000 to get access to those funds. Why you want access to those funds? So you can invest in yourself and amass wealth, and you don't want to be the subject of what's coming now, because now that they're centralizing the money, centralizing banking, July 4th, FEDNOW, which means this is when you allow the government too much power to compete with private commercial institutions. This is what happens when you allow the government to compete with the people commercially. They're going to push out Cash App, push out Zelle, push out Venmo. They're all out of here. Why? Because this is going to be more efficient, more cost effective. So what you need it for? This is how they get us every time. This is how they get you every time. They might instigate a shooting so we can say we want stricter gun laws and policies. They get you to vote against your own rights. This is how they get you. I'm not going to go into all of that in detail. Crisis actors. Y'all will just tell me I'm full of conspiracy theories. But I've seen my websites completely shut down from courses that I've been teaching to help people make bread. Completely shut down, just disappearing. From me talking about the silver tsunami, put up that class, next thing you know, glitches in the matrix. I'm putting up the courses again. But I take my time and I catch a breather, because if you're too aggressive, they get more aggressive. And our people, they'll believe any rumors or speculations about you that's put out there by CPOP. If you could look up CPOP, and you'll see that if you look up George Soros, you can see that they literally can hire or pay for robots to go online and come up with a popular rumor about you and make it look like a bunch of people are agreeing with all these negative things about you. It's really used in the world of politics to sway people's judgment so they can vote in a certain direction. Look it up. I don't make these things up. It just sounds like conspiracy, because it's like, what kind of world are we really living in? What the hell? If you watch Terminator and they speak about Genesis, they was attempting to have an app that had access to everyone all around the world through their computers, through their phones. And they was out to stop that app. And it was in the ushering of artificial intelligence. Like, listen, I know this shit just seemed like movies, but you got to remember, they stole that from a black woman, Sophia Stewart, I believe her last name is. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the whole idea of the Terminator came from her, from visions she was having. And again, I mean, that's not plausible. This is just somebody's visions. But now we're seeing it come to fruition. What do we say now? And what they do, they add the satire, they add they embellish on the vision of the sister, so that way you can't separate fact from fiction. You won't be able to make a distinction amongst the two. Sophia also is responsible for the Matrix. They did reward her money because, yes, these ideas were stolen from that black woman. But keep in mind that these ideas came from that black woman's vision. And what they did, took her vision, misappropriated characters. So now, even when you start seeing it manifest, even if you use the movies as a reference point, you'll still be lost because they changed the narrative of some of the characters. Shit, you might be mad at Mr. Smith in the Matrix not knowing Mr. Smith actually was a good guy. But anyway, I'm not attempting to do that. I want to build with you guys about saving yourselves because the world is changing. I'm constantly saying this. It constantly sounds like, oh, he's just talking about making money. All he cares about is making money. What about the Black Power movement? Now look at us. Let's take a look at this thing one more time. Let's look at it one more time and catch a vibe. And it's pinned to the top, brotherpolight45@gmail.com, and you're ready to spend your $2,000 to change your life and protect yourself from the ensuing events that's coming. Look at this.
This is not hyperbole. Your freedom to use cash the way you want to is going to change forever. Just like what Europe did a few weeks ago, making it illegal to spend cash over $1,000 or 1,000 euros. You can't use 1,000 euros to pay cash. Maybe you want to get some trees removed in your yard and you want to pay the gardener to do that. You can't pay him in cash anymore. Can you imagine? Think that's fake news? Here's the head of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, explaining it.
No, the problem is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to...
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold. Above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the grey market. So you take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail.
So no biggie. You can't spend your own money without the government tracking you, and you can go to jail for it. In the United States, it's called the FEDNOW program, and it'll replace paper currency, which this week became even more worthless. It'll move the United States to a cashless society, a total surveillance state where every transaction will be tracked. Where, as the Fed describes it, money that's in your account can even expire and become unusable. Just like that Olive Garden gift card that you got that one time that you never used. One day you go to buy some bottomless breadsticks and pasta and the gift card won't work. Expired. Where'd that money go? It's gone. You can read how the Fed actually plans to use expiring money right on the Fed's website. China's already doing it. And the World Economic Forum billionaires have repeatedly said they want to model the banking system and the surveillance state after what China is doing.
So we have to define how the world should look like, which we want to come out of this transformation period. I respect China's achievements, which are tremendous over the last over 40 years. I think it's...
Hey, thanks, man, there, Jay Royal. So I don't even have to do this. I'm risking my life sharing this information. And that's real talk. A lot of people don't really realize what it means to represent, to demonstrate your intelligence in this world. A lot of people don't realize that. So thank you for the appreciation. And for those of you that's like, yo, how come you don't let me speak bad about you on your own platform? Bitch, they don't let that happen on Channel 5 or Channel 11. Why the fuck would I do it? So stop with the bullshit. I don't have time for the distraction today. Normally, I let you trolls stay on here. This is not the time for that today. We're not allowing trolls to roll. What's up, Zenith President? Yeah. So all that time I had you guys into precious metals, refinery accounting, purchasing gold and silver at a very cheap price. Having y'all download the application KITCO, K-I-T-C-O, when you join my mentorship program. Back in the days, I was still on it. Now look at everything coming to fruition. Okay, you go to brotherpolight45@gmail.com when you're ready to change your financial paradigm, save yourselves and your family. What are you going to do when they start giving you limits on the amount of cash you can spend, which already started in the world. We're so oblivious to what's going on because of the NBA playoffs, because of what Kanye West is doing, because we're keeping up with the Kardashians, that we're totally oblivious to significant changes in the world as it relates to the global uncertainty, the political polarization of global uncertainty, which has brought about this FEDNOW, which is a revisionist version of what they have going on elsewhere around the world. They keep us very ignorant in America. You know, all over the world, with the exception of 2 other countries, it's illegal and unheard of to solicit. That means to market or sell pharmaceuticals and commercials. This is normal to us, which should be crazy to us. They've normalized insanity. Because once you create a competitive market,
Not hyperbole.
once you've created a competitive market for pharmaceuticals, you're basically asking the drugs to be watered down. Because it then becomes a matter of supply, demand, and marketing. They keep us ignorant on purpose, especially here in America. This is why you don't learn nothing about credit. From pre-K to 12th grade, 14 years ago in the school, you learn nothing about credit. And now they're implementing a system to diminish your ability to hold cash. The less cash you have, the less they allow you to use cash, the more impactful credit will be. And the faster the facilitation of this electronic money, the more difficult it will be to build credit. I don't know if people walking with me understand what I'm saying. I'm not quite sure if y'all really get what I'm saying. That if you already have bad credit, it's hell. Prepare yourself July 4th. It's hell. You thought you had bad credit now? There's no such thing as a lower class no more. But again, we don't even know politically by what design or what criteria is one in the lower class or the upper middle. The upper middle class is damn near the lower class now because of hyperinflation and food inflation. I just say these words in terms so hopefully you can look it up, because if I stop to express all these things, people wind up dropping off the stream. Oh, I don't want to study on this. Oh, the stream is over 30 minutes and I could have just did something else. Y'all got to increase your attention span. I see the BS in the comment section and I'm like, yo, fam, I'm not going to be under no time constraint to disseminate information that you desperately need. It's your responsibility as an adult to obtain this information and use it for the better good of yourselves, your family, and your community. Not mine. I say what I can say within a short period of time. And believe me, every time I do a stream, it's me keeping it short. Because I got so much to say. Like, that's why you're acting as a minority. Because in law, a minority is an adult that thinks in an adolescent state of mind that needs a third-party medium, right, that is more credible in decision-making on their behalf. We need to start acting in our majority. So when you're speaking in legalese, minority means you're an adult thinking in the adolescent state of mind. That's why they have Q-SIPs on your birth certificate, your death certificate, and your marriage certificate. Because you need somebody's help to bring in a child into this world. You need somebody's help to join you and your loved one. And you need someone's help to leave this world. So there's death certificates. And what is a certificate? Well, on the certificate, you see a Q-SIP. And a Q-SIP is a Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Procedure. And what is a security? A security is a paper certificate that attests to ownership and equity, as in the case of a stock, or ownership of a bond, and as in the case of a debt obligation, which has tradable derivatives. So every time you see a certificate, you know it's an attestation of someone owning something. That's why money used to be certificates. Gold certificates and silver certificates. So you look it up and you say paper money called certificates. Now it's called Federal Reserve notes, because notes means there's a debt obligation because we are in debt. We owe money. So the Federal Reserve's job is to take receipt, particularly the treasurer. The job is to take receipt of the debt. Okay? So that's why House Joint Resolution 192, March 9th, 1933 is so important. I say these things over and over so you can look it up so you can see I'm not BS. And this is when they took all the gold and silver away from the people. And if you go to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1314 of the United States Constitution, it tells you that there should be a system of measures and weights as a standard for having money, meaning your money should be backed by something. If your money's not backed by something, then the money's considered to be colorable, meaning that it's fallacious, it's invaluable, it's pseudos, not legal. You think you're calling it money, but I should be able to go to the bank and turn my paper money in exchange for something of value, such as gold or silver. It wouldn't be rational to think I'm going to walk around with a bag filled with heavy gold, $3,000 in gold, $10,000 in gold. So if I needed that money, I would get my certificates, which are an attestation of my ownership and equity. So we would have paper money that represents in ratio the amount of money that we have saved based on gold and silver. And the paper money helps us not have to carry the gold and silver all over the place. But once they took the gold and silver from people in 1933, the paper money really became just paper. And that's called functioning under the color of law. That makes the money colorable. And this is based on House Joint Resolution, House Joint Resolution 192, March 9th, 1933. You'll see that they stopped passing laws, Congress, that is, and they started passing bills of exchange, that is. Okay? So now we're dealing with statutes and codes. So every time a person is punished by crime, it is a commercial crime now. And they have bid bonds, payment bonds, and performance bonds that are consolidated into what's called mortgage-backed securities that they use in exchange for when property is going to default or when people have foreclosed properties. The X amount of prisoners' labor equals the benefit or the redemption of the same. Yes. So the Corrections Corporation facilities, right? What they do is pledge on behalf of the prisoners a means to which end they could diffuse or nullify foreclosure. The same thing goes for soldiers that die. They call MBS or mortgage-backed securities. And so when a person is incarcerated, they sign a bid bond, payment bond, and a performance bond. And the three are consolidated to represent the fulfillment of flawed endeavors to pay for real estate transactions. I swear to you, I don't just sit here making up misinformation. I don't even want to talk about this shit because it gets me spooky. I don't want my page disappearing. The lucky thing for me is most people won't take this shit serious and they'll just laugh and joke. They'll spend more time focused on the way I dress or the way I talk or if my Rolls Royces are really mine. And that's the beauty about me being able to last this long is because the information is so over the head and our people are so damn silly that they know by the time someone starts really teaching the truth to you, you'll be too freaking goofy to process it. You know what I'm saying? Or care. You just want to walk around here and believe everything's peach and peaceful. But no, they're out to get you. Go to brotherpolight45@gmail.com. You leave your full name and your phone number when you're ready to spend your $2,000 to get access to my mentorship program, which is inclusive of credit restoration when you're ready to change your life. Don't contact us unless you are ready. Always leave your full name and your phone number. Always leave your phone number. Always leave your phone number. Always leave your phone number when you are ready. Only call us when you are ready. Only call us when you're ready. And to save you the time of asking us, so what is it that you actually do? We remove negative items off your report, add positive items to your report, boost your credit scores, and then leverage the results so that you meet the criteria to be approved for funds that you don't have to pay back, ranging from $50,000 to $300,000 that you don't have to pay back. Then you'll also get a caseworker designated specifically for you to deal with your specific interests and needs as it relates to credit. You'll also have me at your disposal as your mentor, whereby I give you a wide range of ideas how you may want to invest those monies, because people come into that large amount of money and they're not quite sure what to do with it. You also get the website where you can track your results, see the deleted items as we remove them, the positive items as we add them, and you'll also be able to track when you're getting your monies. Keep this in mind. You can add notifications to your phone from our website so you can be aware every time we're sending something out on your behalf or you're getting something back on your behalf. I need you to understand, even if you think you have good credit, in order to get access to funds that you don't have to pay back, we have to repair it. Because most people's definition of credit is limited to TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, FICO. No, there's over 30 different credit bureaus and financial institutions that have an impact and a say on whether you can get funds you don't have to pay back, if you get any kind of funding at all, if you get denied. Okay, and there's a host of reasons that determine whether or not you should get the same advances as other people of other demographics who are just probably just positioned better than you are, because even your address can be used against you. An example of some bureaus that you're not aware of that impact you based on credit, so you can look it up. Sage Stream, that's one, like sage that you burn. Okay, Core Logics, okay, as in logical, rational. Core Logics, Sage Stream, LexisNexis, spelled with I's, okay. Checks Systems, checks spelled with an X. Then you have your CDAs, which is a conglomerate of other entities that make up for collecting data about if you're getting gift cards from guests. And it's a free gift card, from Walmart for guests. But what they're doing is collecting data about your spending habits in retrospect to your debt accumulation. And if you fulfill your debt payments, and then they put you in a category to see in what ratio do people who purchase these types of items spend this amount of money on this consistent basis. What is the predictability of this consumer when it comes to paying off their debts? You have pharmaceutical scores. What's a pharmaceutical score? Pharmaceutical score, let's say a woman gets her breast done and she needs a muscle relaxer, and now they administer to her Percocets. Because Percocets is a commonly abused drug, your pharmaceutical score goes down lower. You are now more of a liability if you apply for credit in the future, because your pharmaceutical score has a say. Why? Because people who tend to use drugs that get abused, what is the ratio of those people versus other people that use other types of drugs or pharmaceuticals? People who tend to use drugs that get abused use those drugs for recreational purposes, and people that use drugs for recreational purposes have a hard time managing their bills or their debt because they misappropriate their funds because they're abusing drugs, therefore they're buying drugs, and it's taken away from their responsibilities. So it's a higher probability you will not pay your debt back because you have a lower pharmaceutical score, which intimates that you're using drugs that are used for recreation, and you yourself might get hooked on it. Doesn't mean that you will. This means that you might, or you have already. You have educational scores. What is the educational background of your mother, your father? Do you even have them in your life? What is your educational background? And do you live in a highly reputable school district, and have you gone to a highly reputable school in a highly reputable school district? See, there's an educational score. You think I'm making these things up? There's a social media score. What type of perusing do you do online? People who look at the type of things you look at online, what is the probability of people that look at the new ones coming back out, look at all the bum fights and people smacking the hell out of each other, and how much hours do you use on social media collectively? Because you can go into your social media and it'll tell you how much hours you use in a week, or thus far today, or average a month. Well, guess what? This data is sent over by way of CDAs, consumer data aggregates. This is held in an aggregate. It's called aggregation. And they accumulate all this data and they turn it over, and then they say, okay, for people who spend this much time on social media on average, how many of them have managed their debt properly? And what is the amount of time that people use on social media that puts us in a threshold where people are the least risky? So these are called, it's scores predicated upon the predictability of consumerism. They want to understand the predictability of the person spending, so they can understand the risk. and the likelihood of them getting a return. Do you understand what I'm saying? You understand? You have all sorts of scores out here. Share this video. Study the video. Look up the things that I'm saying. I don't sit here making this stuff up. I'm just not the type of person attempting to sound smart. When I tell you terms like political polarization or global uncertainty, take the time out and read the papers on it, how to use it to control votes, understand the voting process, and manipulate things. When I tell you about CPAC, and I corresponded with George Soros, okay? One of the funders of Black Lives Matter movement. Spearheaded by non-straight females. I don't want to say things that sound impactful or hurtful to people, okay? Who's one of the core agendas of the Black Lives Matter movement, when just reading on the website, is so people can become more, and I'm paraphrasing, people become more open to non-same-sex, gender-specific relationships in so much words. I don't want to misconstrue, but you could go there and you can look it up. You know, and the whole time I just think it's black people. Are they leveraging the Black Power movement, our civil rights movement, for a different agenda? Who knows? I don't want to go into the politics of it. But George Soros, S-O-R-O-S, look it up, and CPOC. And you can see that they literally have funding. If they want to destroy someone's personality, if they want to destroy someone's identity, they literally have the ability to put bots out there in the internet world to make it look like human beings are actually against you. And it'd be so overwhelming, the amount of people that it appears to be against you, that you can use that bot system to manipulate votes by swaying people's judgment against one personality for another. And if you think they don't use it against black people and they're only using it in the world of politics, you're bugging. But I'm giving you a point of reference. You can look it up, CPAC, George Soros. Look it up and you'll say, oh, shit. So when it looks like a bunch of people are against a certain person on the internet, those people may not even be true. I can have an amazing program changing lives, and you can see all these people giving testimonies, and then you'll see people in the section creating conflict of interest, like, so which one's which? Because it's either working or it's not. And if it's working, then he knows how to make it work. So if he knows how to make it work, then why would he be doing that? But if you say this, you go into a world of coinage that the feds created, conspiracy theory. Right? They coined the term. So you can have a certain level of apprehensiveness against anybody who questions the popularly accepted belief system. See, I don't really like getting into all this stuff. And I don't like getting into it in depth. But the FEDNOW thing you need to pay attention to. You think the Cash App guy? You think Cash App? You think a CEO, owner, creator of Cash App just walking around getting stabbed up? One of the wealthiest people in the world. You think he's just walking around here getting stabbed up like he a blood or crip? And then they're going to say, oh, not only did he get stabbed up, when he got stabbed up, he had fentanyl, cocaine, alcohol in his body. Oh, yeah, and he got stabbed up by another IT expert with his own IT company, entrepreneur, over dispute over sister. Yeah, shit can happen. If you know, and then, Cash App guy going, welcome to FEDNOW, releasing July 4th. All at once. Just gives me spooky feelings. But hey, accept what you want to accept. I'm not saying wealthy people can't be on drugs. And I'm not saying wealthy people don't go out there stabbing up other wealthy people in public. Just hard to believe. You know what I'm saying? Just hard to believe. If you want to believe another wealthy IT entrepreneur was willing to go in public and stab up somebody that's the owner of Cash App, another wealthy entrepreneur, in public. And when the dude got stabbed up, yeah, he was high for cocaine and fentanyl alcohol, and he's just walking around here lit like that by himself with all the money he making. Shit, I don't even go out without my security. But Cash App gone, and then an app that comes in usurping Cash App. I don't know the mechanics and nuances behind everything. I just get down or lay down vibes. You know, when you're from the hood, one thing that being from the hood has blessed me with is the ability to discern the scam and bullshit. When you're from the hood, someone just got juked up, someone stabbed them, a nigga from the hood, like, I know them stabbing scenarios. You know, like when Un got stabbed and they was like, it's Jay-Z or was it Jay-Z's man that did? Like, we know nigga shit when we hear it. And this is y'all masking nigga shit around some other stuff. I'm just from the hood. I know better. And if you from the hood like I'm from the hood, nigga, the Cash App nigga ain't get stabbed up with no damn fentanyl and cocaine and alcohol. You could have just left us with he had a bunch of drugs in his system and he overdosed. But I just feel like you niggas went into overkill. Because what does one have to do with the others? It doesn't mean they both can't be true, but I'm just saying I know nigga shit when I hear it. And them wasn't no niggas that had any beef. And these geeky ass niggas ain't running around stabbing niggas in broad daylight or in nighttime in public and then throwing the knife away and driving in the getaway car because they arguing over who's fucking whose sister. That's nigga shit. And them was them niggas. And I don't agree with it. And I ain't saying that white folks ain't capable of nigga shit, because they certainly are. They gave birth to the nigga. Them the original niggas. That's another conversation for another time. But no, nigga, I'm not about to accept this Cash App bullshit. And then FEDNOW comes in, just like Cash App. Like, no. No. No, we're not believing in that. We're not believing in that. You feel me? And I don't know everything. And shit, I could only speculate. I just don't like the story. And you ain't gonna trick me into it, because I come from a place where people get stabbed up, and they stabbed up over a quarter pound of weed. They get stabbed up over a nickel bag of weed. I've seen this shit. But once a nigga start having credit cards, he start thinking about changing his life and being more peaceful. These are people that got more than just credit cards. I'm just telling you real shit about black people. You get your first legitimate credit card, you like, man, and it's over $10,000. Bitch, I'm going to stay out of trouble for a little bit. I'm going to stay out of trouble for a little bit. And then got a credit card now. 10 stacks on it. I might be back in trouble in a week or two. But nigga, that first time that shit hit, you swipe, oh shit, $10 went through. Woo, I got $9,990 left. Nigga, I'm staying out of trouble at least till this bread run out. And I get back in debt, I'll see your ass on the streets again. I'm collecting all debts when I get back in debt. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm not believing in none of that. That's just me. That's just me. But y'all believe what you want to believe, whatever story they want to sell you. I'm not going to make up a story. I'm just going to tell you the story don't sound right to me. I just don't know about no tech niggas stabbing each other up in no public over some chick. Nigga shit. That story for me was just tailor designed for black people to believe. You feel us? Oh yeah, I can relate. Cause my man stabbed up his friend when he was going with his shorty sister, and it didn't work out. And when he caught him on the streets, he juked him up. Nigga did it in broad daylight and stayed out on a block till the police came and got him. That's nigga shit. I'm from Brooklyn. I know it when I hear it. Who you sold that story to, and who was it for? Fuck out of here, nigga. Pardon me, man. That shit just got FOH all over it. Fuck out of here. I'm part of my language, but that shit's crazy. This shit is really the real stuff I wanted to talk about. That shit is crazy, you heard? I'm not believing it. I'm not falling for it. And many of you know that shit sounds spooky, and you know what I'm saying is real. If you from where I'm from, just remotely close, no matter what city and state you from, you know that shit reeks of nigga shit. You know this is some reality TV show. Ain't no billionaires stabbing each other up like that. No 100 millionaires and billionaires. It's not happening. It's not happening. And then the dude that they accused says, they charge him for illegal possession of a Swiss knife or some shit. I really sat here and read this shit. But he said, nah, he ain't stabbed nobody, man. So son saying he didn't even stab nobody. I would believe it. they said they got him on camera. It's just really blurry and pixelated. Poor guy, man. Now he know how it feel to be black, man, because they probably setting him up, man. He probably ain't stabbed that guy, man. And if he did, he was probably a Manchurian candidate, if you remember that. You know, because they got robot technology inside of the vaccines. I don't want to say too much of the V word, but then next thing you're going to take my shit down. But I had that conversation and I broke it down. It's clear as day. It says it. But, you know, we could talk about it another time. And it could control the cells. The technology is there to control the cells. But we can talk about it a different time. But we talk about it a different time. I don't make this stuff up. One thing, I from debating, I used to say things that sounded ridiculous on purpose so people could jump out the window. What? You know what he said? He said there's robot technology inside of the vaccine. Once the disrespect comes, then I'll start sharing the information. It's always a setup. I always set people up when it comes to the information. But anyway, go to brotherpolight45@gmail.com when you're ready to get access to anywhere between 50 grand to 300 grand that you don't have to pay back. Caseworker that's going to deal with your credit exclusively and immediately. Myself as your mentor to help you get a wide range of ideas how you may want to invest the money so you could grow it into a larger amount. The mentorship is the most important part of the mentorship, obviously. And then the website where you can track your results, see the deleted items as we remove them, the positive items as we add them, and then also you can add notifications to your phone so that way you can be aware anytime we send something out on your behalf and when we get things back in return. Go to brotherpolight45@gmail.com. Leave your full name and your phone number. I'm probably going to go on Facebook and get this build on. I was only going to do it on IG, but I'm going on Facebook in about 5-10 minutes and get this in. But, you know, shit is just crazy, man. This FEDNOW shit is coming in July 4th. Good luck to you guys. I did my best to tell you about the expedience. Of doing what? Getting your credit fixed, getting access to the funds. Leave your full name and phone number, brotherpolight45@gmail.com. Leave your full name and phone number when you're ready to spend your money to change your financial paradigm. The days we talked about are quickly ensuing us. They're here. Hope you guys do something about it. Can't stress it to you enough. You can look up everything. That's why I say things as a point of reference so you can take notes. When you look at the video again, you can look back up. Damn, political polarization, the global uncertainty is such a real term. Okay, he didn't make those up. Oh, House Joint Resolution 192, March 9th, 1933. Oh, okay, Bills of Exchange. Oh, they took the gold and silver away from the people. This is also true. Wow, third paragraph, read it. Okay, what else? You know, that there are more than just TransUnion, Sparrow, Equifax, and FICO. And I gave you some examples of SageStream, CoreLogics, LexisNexis, Check Systems, and then the CDAs in general. Okay? I just keep sharing points of references. Points of references for you. I keep sharing points of references for a reason. So you can look it up and know I'm not lying to you. I don't know who created the system when they talk about credit to make sure you get money, make sure you get a caseworker, make sure you have a mentor to coach you and prepare you for the money you'll have so you could grow it into a larger amount. And then also make sure you add notifications to your phone to see what we do on your behalf, mailing things out and getting things back to boost your credit scores, give you those monies and give you better credit cards with higher limits. By the time you get the monies you don't have to pay back in the newly found credit cards, you're going to be $500,000 and up. Over. Facts. This is what we do. But now you're being forced into a position. You ain't going to be able to keep hiding paper stacks under the bed. Shit is changing. It's going to be more and more difficult to have wiggle room in the world of finance. Harder to build credit up. Cashless society is here. And no, it is not a new currency. But they're bringing in the no currency phenomenon.
This is not hyperbole. Your freedom to use cash the way you want to is going to change forever. Just like what Europe did a few weeks ago, making it illegal to spend cash over $1,000 or 1,000 euros. You can't use 1,000 euros to pay cash. Maybe you want to get some trees removed in your yard and you want to pay the gardener to do that. You can't pay him in cash anymore. Can you imagine? Think that's fake news? Here's the head of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, explaining it.
No, the problem is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to.
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold. Above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the grey market. So you take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail.
So no biggie. You can't spend your own money without the government tracking you, and you can go to jail for it. In the United States, it's called the FEDNOW program, and it'll replace paper currency, which this week became even more worthless. It'll move the United States to a cashless society, a total surveillance state where every transaction will be tracked. Where, as the Fed describes it, money that's in your account could even expire and become unusable. Just like that Olive Garden gift card that you got that one time that you never used. One day you go to buy some bottomless breadsticks and pasta and the gift card won't work. Expired. Where'd that money go? It's gone. You can read how the Fed actually plans to use expiring money right on the Fed's website. China's already doing it. And the World Economic Forum billionaires have repeatedly said they want to model the banking system and the surveillance state after what China is doing.
So we have to define how the world should look like, which we want to come out of this transformation period. China's.
Y'all know exactly what it is.
This is not hyperbole. Your freedom to use cash the way you want to is going to change forever. Just like what Europe did a few
Shit
weeks
is
ago,
crazy, man.
making it illegal to spend cash over $1,000 or one.
Man. Blessings to you guys. You can get with the program or not. But I'm just here to tell you guys, it's real. I don't know how much more proof you need.
Euros. You can't use 1,000 euros to pay cash. Maybe you want to get some trees removed in your yard and you want to pay the gardener
crazy,
to
man.
do that.
It's just kind of crazy. And it's like I just be having sad feelings with people who just keep sitting here thinking this shit is a game. You'll see July 4th they're bringing it in. What are they on? I feel you, man. You know, people think I just be out here making shit up. Been telling you about the silver tsunami. Been telling you they have to come with a remedy. Been telling you about House Joint Resolution, March 9th, 1933, HJR 192. Been telling you about these things, but it took the gold and silver away from the people. Been teaching about this stuff for years. Now, I wish I wouldn't be the one to say I told you so, but even still, the best thing you could do is start bodying the world of credit. Get your credit right and get up out of this situation because shit gonna get wicked, man. They talking about your money expiring. Once they really get everybody acclimated to FEDNOW, the cash is a dub. It's a dub. You come out here exceedingly wealthy only because so many people are exceedingly ignorant. It's the number one time to be wealthy, when everyone's ignorant. Just about everybody's ignorant. You follow the plan. That's all I can say, man. Go to brotherpolight45@gmail.com when you're ready to spend your $2,000. Only when you're ready. Change your financial paradigm. Peace to you guys, man. Blessings in abundance. I'm gonna jump on the Facebook soon too. Peace.